there's a flask, a carrier bag, and in it, I find letters from my kind to my kin. I open each one and voices speak from within.
Dear friends, dear neighbors, dear dogs, dear cats, dear crows, dear rats, dear mosquitoes, dear moles, dear wild boars, pigs, cows, and chickens, dear non-human animals.
This is the apology I owe you for a long time.
I'm deeply sorry. We are sorry.
Dear friends, I'm writing to you on behalf of my family. We are Homo sapiens, living in a small city in the north of Italy, a place close to mountains, close to the sea, and surrounded by sweet hills that link the two. The weather here used to be temperate, not so cold in the winter, not so hot in the summer. But things changed in the last decades, blurring the season and driving the weather to be more extreme. Probably you know this. You are living here as well, but you don't know that the sea and the mountain are so close. You are not free to move. I want to tell you what is outside your cage, outside that tent. Besides, I want to ask you, how are you?
Dear mosquitoes, in Venice, I think of you more than I used to in my previous Muscovite life, when we only had brief encounters during camping trips or my holidays in the countryside. My father lives in the countryside, so one of the first things he asked after my arrival was, "What type of mosquitoes are there? They must be different and special."
Dear moles, it is uncanny talking out of a body that belongs to a species with so much of your blood on its hands. We have been sharing green spaces for centuries, but the lack of equality and respect from the side of humans is unacceptable. My species has beaten you, poisoned you, hurt your sensitive ears and nose, driven you out, and murdered you. There are countless products sold in our stores with the sole purpose of evicting you from claimed spaces by every means necessary.
Dear rats, we created a safe haven and then made you a pest in it. For centuries, you were blamed for spreading of a black plague, relying only on the stereotype of you being pests living in hygienic conditions, eating our supplies on boats, like it was you that decided to be transported around the world on ships. You were just a scapegoat. It was our own condition that took so many of us to the grave.
Dear pigs, cows, chickens, all those we hide away, breed, kill, and transform to look like meals. We too do not know how things ended up like this. We could trace the steps, we could study the data, and yet how is it possible that we make so many loving beings like you live just to make them die for us? We do not know.
You stand there wasting away as we devour everything. If only we would look at our feet, we would realize that we are all inhabitants of the same earth.
I am so sorry. We are so sorry.
We don't deserve your forgiveness. Yet we apologize.
Dear Biccherino, my small little boar that I loved so much. I remember when I first saw you. You were so tiny in that room, and you had just lost your mom. You were so funny with your little paws, running around waiting for milk. Like all the puppies in the world, you were sweet, dynamic, confident. It was so difficult to take a picture of you because you continued to move. Such a curious soul. I want to explain why you are not released into nature like the other animals there. See, people say that you are too many in the woods, that you ruin the cultivations. Therefore, the management for your containment is handled by hunters. They want to kill you. You were lucky to have been found as a puppy. Otherwise, if they had found you as an adult, hunters would have killed you. The world is unfair, my little Bicherino, and it is for this reason that you couldn't return to nature.
Dear baby crow, yesterday I saw you once I entered my grandmother's house. She is not with us anymore, but her house is a flowered garden, kept by my mother and my aunt. Nobody lives there. But actually, it is not true. You were there yesterday, and your parents, if I can call them so, were there with you. I thought you were eating our newly grown vegetables, and I tried to scare you, but you were not flying away. I asked myself, why?
What do you think of us? Are we good enough for you? Do you actually like living here?
Dear M, I wanted a pet. And when you arrived, I was still considering you as a pet. I was so unprepared that I agreed to take you too early when you were too young to leave your family. I was so unprepared that I did not realize that you were sick. I'm so sorry that it took me so long to give you proper care and medication. I was expecting an Instagram pet, furry, quiet, someone who would have stood by me in a cozy room on rainy afternoons. But then you came to give me one lesson that changed my perspective, that actually, you were not supposed to follow my expectations. You were not born to satisfy me. You were not mine.
Do you like me? Am I a good guardian? And do you like if I use this term? Am I enough? But most of all, who are you?
My dear Easy, I'm writing you this letter because I would like to understand if you really feel understood. What I try to do was to be in your shoes, I should say pause, and understand what I could do and which would be your needs. And I'm so grateful because from the moment you laid on my thighs and you looked at me with your big green eyes, I felt like you've always been with me, like I've always known you. I understood that the human language isn't required to speak to you, to communicate with you.
I wonder if you remember us daydreaming, sitting on the doorstep, observing your ways of life, so different, but so familiar to us. We spent hours listening to your stories in the dark nights, old owl. We were amazed watching your dances in the dusk, my sweet sparrows. We rooted for you in your races, dear hares. And you, wise swallows? Oh, we admired your reconnaissance flights in autumn. We praised your long migration and longed for your arrival in the spring.
I would like us to find more commonalities between us and fewer differences between species. I would like to think of each other as housemates in this world. I would like to bring us closer together and not to continue to perpetuate human tyranny as the only possible model.
I would like to recall that it was not always like this. The mentality of peacefully co-living did not cease to exist completely. Rural communities based their weather predictions on your mole behavior, the size of your hills, and the times you actively formed them. You have been a guide for farmers for centuries, signaling when it is warm enough to sow and when to prepare for a harsh winter.
I want to imagine with you the moment you all would leave the cages and the circus. Cars would stop when you cross the road, and people would just wait for you to pass and reach the park. No rushing, no supremacy, just patience and coexistence. We are getting there, to make your species free from all this. Keep strong, dear animal friends. I want to let you know that outside that place, things struggle to be different.
And what I can promise you, baby crow, is that we will only come to water the garden. This is the only thing we really need to do there. I can imagine you still need time, your life school time. So I have a wish for you. Feel safe, feel free, take your time, take your first flights in the garden where no human will interfere. Every time I see a grown-up crow, I will think it's you, dear.
Bicchierino, my dear, I want to say this. You are a beautiful soul. Your life should have been in the woods, looking for food and enjoying the little things. Don't believe humans when they say that boars are bad animals. You are only trying to survive. You loved milk, you loved sleeping while being caressed, you loved company, and I loved you. You are so precious. Continue to be curious and get away if you can. Return to the woods and resist injustice.